talking about? We're talking about spiders, and we're talking about pervitin', and we're talking about Bigfoot. I'm here to tell you where he's been. They call me Mr. Gulley. I'm here to save the day. They call me Mr. Gulley, and I'm gonna lead the way. They call me Mr. Gulley. I'm here to save the day. They call me Mr. Gulley, and I'm gonna lead the way. Here we go now. I'm talking about Mr. Gulley, and you don't know where he's been. Oh no, he's been right in your alley. Well, I'm Mr. Gulley, yes I am. So what we talking about? We're talking about spiders, and we're talking about pervitin', and we're talking about Bigfoot. I'm here to tell you where he's been. They call me Mr. Gulley. I'm here to save the day. They call me Mr. Gulley, and I'm gonna lead the way. They call me Mr. Gulley. I'm here to save the day. They call me Mr. Gulley, and I'm gonna lead the way. One, two, three, four. They call me Mr. Gulley. I've got something for your ear. Now it might sound kind of funny, but I'll make it very clear. So what we talking about? We're talking about spiders, and we're talking about pervitin', and we're talking about Bigfoot. I'm here to tell you where he's been. They call me Mr. Gulley. I'm here to save the day. They call me Mr. Gulley, and I'm gonna lead the way. They call me Mr. Gulley. I'm here to save the day. They call me Mr. Gulley, and I'm gonna lead the way. Here we go now. I'm talking about Mr. Gulley, and you don't know where he's been. Oh no, he's been right in your alley. Well, I'm Mr. Gulley, yes I am. So what we talking about? We're talking about spiders, and we're talking about pervitin', and we're talking about Bigfoot. I'm here to tell you where he's been. They call me Mr. Gulley. I'm here to save the day. They call me Mr. Gulley, and I'm gonna lead the way. They call me Mr. Gulley. I'm here to save the day. They call me Mr. Gulley, and I'm gonna lead the way.
Hey everybody, what's going on? What's hot? What's hip? What's happening? What is shaking on your day today? It's Tuesday, but somebody listens a long time after now. They won't know it's Tuesday. They won't care. But it is a little bit important to be Tuesday. I hope you're having a good one. Tonight, let me tell you about May of 1963 as our birthday week. celebrations continue. Some people say to me, they say, Tom, you're so darn old. You know, darn old. Well, this will give you an example of what the world was like when I shot past a placenta. And it's interesting because a lot of important things happen, including me being born. So anyway, please do me a favor right now. Like, share, subscribe, retweet, notification bell, all those very, very, very free things you can do. Don't cost you a penny, and they help us with the algorithm, the almighty, all-powerful, all-knowing, all-seeing algorithm. Plus, also, as well, in addition to, we have memberships and we have super chats. I may have mentioned it's birthday week. I know you didn't get me anything. Well, now's your chance. Right now. But also throughout the rest of the week. And then later throughout the year, as often as I can make you feel guilty. Also, we do have people that come in here and give out gifted membership, gifts out of the goodness of their heart. And it tells how to turn on your gifted memberships right down there in just a second. Oh, we also have a merch store, which you can go to. The link to that is in the description of this show. I'll talk about the description of this show in just a few seconds. Why don't I get to a few of your comments? Jared is here from the Pot Awful Cult. He says H2BH as well here, Jared. Gilman says, hey, Tom, I'm happy to be here. Always wanted to ask if you have done a pinball show. I have not. However, that's such a good subject. I don't know that we'll get to it this week, but if we don't get to it this week, we will do a show next week on the pinball machine, which was the all the rage when I was a kid. It was a hell of a thing. They had them. Anyway. And Gilman says, I still can't get what tonight's show is about. Young-looking astronaut? Well, yes, that's one of the things that happened in May of 63. I'll tell you about it in a second, which I always will, you know. But also, one of the key hints is in the description of the show. If you look at that, although a lot of times it doesn't actually really tell specifically. Well, no, really, most of the time it does. I normally don't have a topic this general. So, but I will tell you, and there's a lot about it, by the way, because, you know, these things back in the old days of space, it wasn't just on this day we're going and there you are. No, a lot of things happen. A lot of things happen. Coach Mike Rodick is here. He says hello to all my friends in chat. Oh, hey, Tom. Oh, hey, Coach Mike Rodick. People saying hi. People saying hi. We do have the most cheerful chat room on the internet, as verified by independent sources. R2 is here. Says, I've been on a team and know how to respect. Hey, Coach. That's very nice of him. That's very nice. And he says he loves Tuesday. Well, thank you. Welcome, R2. I'm assuming that you know someone named D2 that follows you into the show. I don't know. Best theme song. Thank you. Thank you. People saying hi. Elton John. I don't know. Rocket Man? Is that what we're talking about there? I don't know. I don't know. And thank you as well. By the way, at the end of our topic, as always this evening, I will be posting the link to the StreamYard so that if you want to be on the show, you can. Although I don't recommend it. It's not all that good, you know. So let me tell you about May 1963. I'm going to take you through the entire month and tell you about the most important things that have happened through the month of May 1963, which, of course, is when, well, we'll get to the most important day, which is the 30th. But that's that. Hey, I bet you didn't know this. The 1st of May, 1963, people had been to the top of Mount Everest before. In fact, 4 other people, Edmund Hillary and Tenzing Norgay in May of 1953, May. Notice how that happens? May 29th, as a matter of fact. And then Ernst Reis und Fritz Luchsinger in May of 1957. If you're going to climb Mount Everest, do it in May when the fruit trees are in season. I don't know. That's probably just the best time to go. But the important part about the 5th and 6th people is one of the people was Sherpa guide Nawang Gombu, who I'm sure was a nice man. But the most important part was The very first American on the 1st of May, 1963, Jim Whittaker did it. He was from Redmond, Washington, and he was the very first American to accomplish the feat. He did so at the age of 32. The age of 32. So, how about that? How about that? Also on the 1st of May in 1963, Sir Winston Churchill announced his retirement from politics at age 88 for reasons of health, excuse me. On the 2nd of May, what happened? Oh, man. You know, a lot of bad things. A lot of bad things. Hundreds of African Americans, including children, were arrested during the Birmingham campaign as they set out from the 16th Street Baptist Church in Birmingham to protest segregation. There were 959 people arrested on the first day. 2 days later, Public Safety Commissioner Eugene Bull Connor would order the use of dogs and hoses to repel new demonstrators, images of which were picked up by people all over the world, and I will show you one, but not right now. Right now, I want to show you this guy. Boy, this guy. What a guy. Let me tell you about this fella right here. This fella. See this fella? Well, this fella is named Jack A. Blade. And he was kind of a compatriot to our friend Dick Bong, who was the best ace of World War II and the best ace in American history. Well, he was a flying ace and test pilot, and he was killed on the 2nd of May, 1963, in a midair collision of two F-105 Thunder Chiefs over the Catskill Mountains in New York. The other pilot was also killed, Don Seaver, but he didn't do anything during the war, so nobody really cared. Anyway, on the May 3rd, development testing of the Gemini Agenda Model 8247 main engine at Arnold Engineering Developmental Center began with an objective of verifying the engine's ability to start at least 5 times. 2 major problems, turbine overspeed and gas generator valve failure in high temperatures, were found. And that's important because we was trying to go out into outer space, don't you see? Outer space, son. Do you hear me, son? Outer space. On the 4th of May, 1963, 2 really kind of, I don't know how you'll feel about this, clandestine marriages occurred. One of them, New York Governor Nelson Rockefeller, secretly, very secretly, married his girlfriend, Margetta Happy Murphy, despite being advised that his remarriage after divorcing the year before would hurt his chances for the Republican Party nomination for the U.S. presidency. And that was back when divorce was just seen as, oh, man, divorce, that's, geez, Now it's just like, hey, I got a divorce. You want a Big Mac with that? I mean, nobody cares. Another one, television comedian Carol Burnett, 28 years of age, married television producer Joe Hamilton in a ceremony in Juarez, Mexico. On the same day, Hamilton had obtained a quickie Mexican divorce. Back then, if you wanted to get a divorce real easy, no questions asked, you went down to Mexico. That's right, you went down to Mexico. That was the place you would go. Yes. Dick died on May 4th, 1963. Dickie Kerr, 69, an American baseball pitcher for the Chicago White Sox, praised later for remaining honest during the corrupt Black Sox scandal in 1919. Dickie Kerr. What's your favorite kind of Kerr? Well, I like Dickie Kerr. That's my favorite kind of Kerr. Got some comments here. Let's get to them. Pinball reference. Oh, yes, the Elton John pinball machine. That was called the Pinball Wizard, and from the song as well, you know. Ain't seen nothing like him. Blink no Bops and bells. Don't see no lights a flash, and he plays by sense of smell. Always gets a replay, never tilts a ball. That deaf, dumb, and blind kid sure plays a mean pinball. Jean1313 is here, and we're always glad to see her. Hello to her. She says hi to all the Gully heads and Mr. Gully. Good to see you. R2 says, I was alive and young then. I might have heard that, but I did not care. Yes, that was shocking. The heart wants where the heart wants. Richard Kerr, known as Dickie Kerr. Anyway, May the 5th, that would have been Cinco de Mayo in 1963. This is a big one. I kind of don't know if I should put this image up yet. I'm going to tell you that first, and then I'll put the image up. After 18 years of denial, the Soviet Union confirmed that it had recovered and identified the burned remains of Adolf Hitler on April 30th, 1945. Marshal Vasily Sokolovsky, the chief of operations during the Battle of Berlin, publicly disclosed the details to American researcher Cornelius Ryan and allowed him unprecedented access to classified documents and allowed him and English historian John Erickson, to interview 50 top-ranking officials. Sokolowski told Ryan, you should be informed that the Soviet Union officially regards Hitler as dead. And with that being said, I can officially give you the news here. Previously, the Soviet position had been that the Soviet commander Georgy Zhukov, who had said, we have found no body definitely identified as Hitler's. For all we know, he may be in Spain or Argentina. So the Russians for 18 years denied the death of Hitler, although they knew Hitler was dead. Because why? They're Russians. Commies. Soviets. Soviets were those, I guess. Anyway. So there's your big news for Cinco de Mayo, 1963, which was, by the way, on a Sunday. May the 6th, 1963, graduate student Beverly Sammons became the 10th murder victim of Albert DeSalvo. You know him better as the Boston Strangler. Sammons was stabbed repeatedly, although he repeated his modus operandi of strangling a woman with her own stocking. Her body would be discovered 3 days later. Also on May 6, 1963, notable civil rights activist and comedian Dick Gregory was beaten and jailed by police while participating in the Birmingham campaign. Yes. Also, Timothy Leary was dismissed from his post at Harvard University for failing to carry out his duties. Yes. That was terrible, those things that happened. I'm telling you. On May the 7th, the communications satellite Telstar 2 was launched into Earth orbit to replace the first Telstar satellite, which had stopped functioning in February because of damage by the Van Allen radiation belts. As with the first Telstar, the satellite amplified signals that it was receiving from ground station transmitters. Telstar was a very important satellite, by the way. Very important satellite. Now, this one here is a biggie. Yes, on May 8th, 1963, the James Bond film Dr. No premiered in the United States. The film had been seen in Europe since its premiere in London on October the 5th, 1962. So some 6 months later, it finally comes to the United States. Now, although this is not the first James Bond film, it's what many would say is the first serious James Bond film, and it is, of course, the first one with Sean Connery. So there you are. That's the 8th of May. Can you dig it? Look at that, Sean Connery. Let's get to a few more of your comments, shall we? Let's see. People saying hi. Crispy Kraut. Terry Nee says, May 1963. Terry was there. He remembers. R2 says, Ruskies. Timmy, what mind? He led the hippies, and he failed to do his duties at Harvard. Maybe he was tripping, man. Gene says, LSD guy. Oh, you got that right. R2 says, yes, I took it one time. I still love that movie. I still hum the theme song. All the Bond movies had great theme songs, man. They really did, man. Testing of the Gemini parachute recovery system began in El Centro, California on May 9th of 1963. And that was really important, as you'll see later, because they's about to shoot a rocket into space. Yeah. And also the 1963 Cannes Film Festival opened on the 9th of May. On the 10th of May, which was a Friday, 1963, author Maurice Sendak, working on his first book for children, made the decision to abandon his original title, Where the Wild Horses Are, after concluding horses are too difficult to draw, and change the characters in the book to friendly monsters. That book, Where the Wild Things Are, would become a Caldecott medal-winning bestseller and launch Sendak's career. I don't know about Terry Nee, but I remember this book very well. I'm so sorry the wolf isn't here, because one of the things that happened on May the 10th, 1963, is that Eugene Big Daddy Lipscomb, 31 years of age, an American NFL player for the Steelers, died of a heroin overdose. And Wolf, of course, would know about Big Daddy Lipscomb. Gene said that's my favorite book. And R2 said Sendak was scary. He put me into therapy. I think we saw it on a film strip or something. A little movie, or I don't know. But that book actually scared me as well. It didn't terrify me. But there's a point in that book that they go to the terrible place and then they come back to the good place. But it's a little bit creepy, that book. May 11th, 1963, Canada's new Prime Minister, Lester B. Pearson, agreed to allow American nuclear weapons to be placed in Canada following a 2-day meeting with U.S. President John F. Kennedy at the president's private estate in Hyannisport, Massachusetts. Born on May 11th, 1963, would be Natasha Richardson, English actress, daughter of Vanessa Redgrave and Tony Richardson. She was born on that date. And she's no longer with us. She died. She was married to Liam Nielsen, and she ran into a tree while skiing, which more people than you'd think die of that. So anyway, May 12th, 1963. Here's a little foreshadowing. Dr. Charles A. Berry, Chief Medical Officer of the Manned Spacecraft Center, cleared Gordon Cooper as being in excellent mental and physical condition for the upcoming Mercury 9 mission. Also of importance, on May 12, 1963, scheduled to make his national television debut on The Ed Sullivan Show, folk singer Bob Dylan refused to perform after censors at the CBS network would not clear him to sing Talkin' John Birch Blues. Very satirical song. Dylan would go on to greater fame, singing with Joan Baez in August during the March on Washington. There you go. May the 13th, 1963. Very important U.S. Supreme Court case decided Brady versus Maryland, which set the principle that before trial in a criminal case, the prosecution must disclose any exculpatory evidence which might exonerate the defendant to the defense team. It was named for accused killer John Leo Brady. The Brady disclosure and is now a requirement for prosecutors. Brady, who had been sentenced to death in the original 1958 case, would be afforded a new trial, resulting in a sentence of life imprisonment from which he would eventually be paroled. But basically it says that if the prosecution gets information that might lead to people to believe that the defendant is innocent, they got to turn it over. Oh, yeah. Can you dig it? March 14th, 1963, the scheduled launch of Mercury 9 was halted after the countdown had reached T-minus 60 minutes because of difficulty in the fuel pump of the diesel engine that would pull the gantry away during liftoff. After a delay of more than 2 hours for repairs, countdown resumed but was halted again at T-minus 13 minutes when the Bermuda tracking station reported a failure of the computer converter important in the orbital insertion decision, forcing the launch to be scrubbed. May 14, 1963 was also the day that the Rolling Stones signed their first recording contract, after talent scout Dick Rowe was asked them to audition for Decca Records. What do you think about this? Also dying on May 14th was Harold Stanley, one of the founders of Morgan Stanley in 1935. All right, now we can get to the thing here. Here we go. There's Gordon Cooper right there. At 8:05 a.m., NASA launched Mercury 9 from Cape Canaveral with astronaut L. Gordon Cooper in the capsule designated Faith 7. Cooper's 22-orbit mission was the last for the Mercury program. For those of you who don't know, its goal was to put a man in orbit and return him safely. And they wanted to do this before the Soviet Union. So he was the last Mercury astronaut. He didn't go to the moon. He went in orbit, hung out there, and there you go. Cooper entered the spacecraft at 5:33 a.m. for an 8 o'clock launch, took a brief nap while awaiting liftoff. At T-minus 11 minutes and 30 seconds, the countdown was halted for a problem in the guidance equipment, and another hold was called at T-minus 19 seconds to determine whether automatic sequencing was working. Liftoff happened 4 minutes after the original time. Visual tracking was possible for 2 minutes. Temperatures inside the capsule range from 92 degrees to 109 degrees. Uncomfortable but tolerable before cooling down. During his third orbit, Cooper became the first human to launch an object, which was his beacon, from an orbiting spacecraft. Cooper was able to see the flashing beacon on the night side of the fourth orbit. Also on May the 15th, 1963, housewife Jean Needich founded the Weight Watchers Company, with the first meeting held in a loft above a movie theater in Little Neck, a neighborhood in the New York borough of Queens. There we go. There we go. That is good. Do I have any of your comments to be going over here? Let's see here. Let's see. Jared's got the thumbs up. Can you dig it? Up fingers. Yes, Sonny Bono ran into a tree skiing, whatever. Dylan would not be denied. He was a force sculptory. Why ski? I got you. Because the mountain is there. Well, that's why climb. I think they did a monkey first. Tim Jenkins says it didn't go well for the first Soviet in space. No, it did not. Good point. Now rich people get to do that. Just to orbit, yeah. Gatorade. Let's see. Skiing is a rich person's demise. Didn't Weight Watchers go bust not long ago? I think it's still around. I don't know. I don't really care. I'll tell you another thing about this Gordon Cooper guy. He returned to Earth safely on May 16th, 1963, after making 22 orbits and traveling 546,167 miles in the Faith 7 capsule. During re-entry operation, Cooper fired the retro rockets manually and attained the proper re-entry attitude by using his observation window scribe marks to give proper reference to the horizon and to determine if he were rolling. From the command ship in the Pacific Ocean off the Japanese coast, John Glenn advised Cooper when to jettison the retro pack. Anyway, he did 34 hours, 19 minutes, and 49 seconds of space flight and was recovered by the USS Kearsarge. So good for him. Also on the 16th of May, 1963, another kind of a, hazard of the job of the Russians, Oleg Penkovsky, 44, a former Soviet Army colonel and spy, was executed 5 days after being sentenced to death by a military tribunal for passing secrets to the United States and the United Kingdom. And apparently it was also known as a real jerk. May 17th, 63, a U.S. Army OH-23 helicopter with two men on board, Captains Ben W. Stutz and Charlton W. Volz, was shot down by North Korean ground forces after straying north of the demilitarized zone. The two men would be freed after 365 days of imprisonment on May the 16th, 1964, following the United Nations command agreeing to sign a statement that Stutz and Volz had committed espionage. North Korea declined to return the helicopter. You know why? Because they're just a bunch of jerks. A bunch of real jerks is what they are. Let's see here. I got a thing here to show you. See this fella here? You see that fella? That's Bruno Sammartino. And on May 17, 1963, Bruno Sammartino faced champion Buddy Rogers of the Worldwide Wrestling Federation, now the WWE, by the way, in a professional wrestling match at New York's Madison Square Garden. Sammartino, using his signature move, the Italian backbreaker, defeated Rogers in only 48 seconds. But the big news is, and the reason I'm telling you this, he would remain and reign as the, what do we got going on here? Thanks, StreamYard. I was wanting to push this one here. I have probably 20 different more people's comments that didn't even show up. I couldn't even see them. And then I press this guy, and boom. They just suck. Anyway, Bruno Sammartino would reign as WWF champion for the next 8 years. There you go. People saying hi to Wolf. People saying hi. People saying hi. People saying hi. People saying hi. Let's see. People saying hi. People saying hi. People saying hi. Failed, says Tom. Thank you. Appreciate that. Tim Jenkins said, you made me laugh with the angry giant comment yesterday, Wolf. Yes. See, I did. It just does it every time. It just, you click and then 9 comments come up. StreamYard sucks. It just sucks. They suck. They suck on every level. There's absolutely no way around it. It shouldn't work that way. It should refresh on its own. It shouldn't depend on my click for that to happen. I shouldn't have to approve brand new cookies. Every day when I log in to do this show, I have to approve brand new, every day, new cookies for this program. Why would that be? Unless your software is so unstable that every day you're updating it to the point where new cookies, new cookies, new cookies. God, get it together, for crying out loud. If Tom ever rebrands, that would be a great name. Thank you, Johnny Showbiz. I'm not going to rebrand, and that would be an awful name. It should be called Junkyard. Whatever you think, man. Hello. It's amazing they charge to use it. It really is. You want a cookie? Yeah, I'll get one from your mom tonight, right before I leave. May 18th, 1963. An accident killed 27 people, 12 of them children, who all drowned when their bus they were on was sideswiped by a passing pickup truck and plunged into the 16-foot deep Hillsborough Canal near Belglade, Florida. Only the driver and 14 people survived. I couldn't find out if the pickup driver was ever... That guy should do time. That dude should do time, man. Also on May 18th, 1963, Ernie Davis, 23, football star who won the 1961 Heisman Trophy at Syracuse, passed away of leukemia. He had been diagnosed after signing with the NFL's Cleveland Browns. Yes, he did. Wolf says, StreamYard, a bunch of jerks they are. Let's see. Is that me? Yes, that's you, Terry. It really is. Jeez. Gilman says, I hate to leave good company. Rock on, Gullerinos. Thank you so much for that wonderful donation, Gilman. You're a gentleman and a scholar, and perhaps that will set an example to those other people taking in this incredible content, free of charge, most of the time. But thank you, Gilman. I will do that show on pinball next week, by the way. My mom was born in 1963. You trying to smash or what? Just so I get a cookie from her. Wow, you've got some kind of like Oedipal complex if you're thinking about your mom being smashed. All I said was I was getting a cookie. Jeez, man. The things that you self-apply to yourself. Wow. That's just dark. Man, oh man. Jeez. On May 19th, 1963, oh, by the way, like, share, subscribe, retweet, notification bell, all those free things you can do to help us with the algorithm. Please do it, because one of these days, I'm going to look at my stats and I'm going to go, why am I doing this? I can talk to myself at home and reach this many people. So please like, share, subscribe, retweet, notification bell, those free things that help us with the algorithm. Then also we have super chats, we have memberships. Thank you, Gilman, for taking part in that. And we also have turn on your gifted memberships, which why should I care if you do that? If you don't want to do it, don't do it. Anybody gives a membership, you don't get one, what do I care? No skin off my nose. May 19th, 1963, astronaut Gordon Cooper appeared at a national TV press conference to answer questions about the Mercury 9 mission. During the flight, he had seen the haze layer that previously was reported by Wally Schirra of Mercury 8 and John Glenn's fireflies seen on Mercury 6. Cooper's most astonishing revelation was his ability visually to distinguish objects on Earth, including an African town where the flashing light experiment was conducted, several Australian cities, including large oil refineries in Perth, and wisps of smoke from rural houses in Asia. At the same conference, Dr. Robert C. Siemens said that a Mercury 10 flight was quite unlikely. Also, British driver Bob Anderson won the 1963 Rome Grand Prix. In the people that are really swarthy department, this guy pops up. May 20th, 1963, Tiger Petrosian won the World Chess Championship and it's simultaneously, first time ever, World Body Odor Championship. Defeating fellow Soviet Grandmaster and World Champion Mikhail Botvinnik. What that says? Yes. The Dutch Wonderland Family Amusement Park was opened by potato broker Earl Clark near Lancaster, Pennsylvania on May 20th, 1963. Also, a notable birth on May 20th, 1963. Perfect game pitcher and morbidly obese athlete David Wells was born on May 20th in Torrance, California. Later to pitch a perfect game. It was perfect. He pitched a game that was perfect. Perfect. May 22nd, 1963. Lamar Hunt, the owner of the American Football League's champion, the Dallas Texans, moved the team to Kansas City, Missouri, where they would later be renamed the Kansas City Chiefs. The AFL trustees approved the move a week later. What do you think about that? Also born May 20th, 1963. I don't know how many of you people will remember this man, but he was a really amazing guy. David Bloom, American television journalist for NBC News, who died of a pulmonary embolism while covering the Iraq War in 2003. He was born in Edina, Minnesota on May 22nd, 1963. Remember the Bloommobile? He had like embedded himself way before anybody else, and he had made this truck that would carry water and all of the gear that he needed and everything. Remember that during the Gulf War? If you don't, you should. And he was a great guy. And apparently he was in hot temps a lot, and he had inhaled so much stuff that some of the sand that he inhaled just created that pulmonary edema, which was, was not good. It was really not good. Failed says, make love, whatever, not my business. It seems like it is your business. You ask me about it. Oh, good. Cult meeting. This is great. This is really great. I love double stuffed Oreos. Don't we all? Cult meeting podcast. Hey, folks, if you haven't had a chance, please completely ignore Cult Meeting Podcast. It's a podcast. Well, it's not even a podcast. It has less followers than this one. He's not all there, if you know what I mean. And now he's here, and I don't want him here. So he's going to be banned forever. So goodbye, Cult Meeting Podcast. Please go haunt some other area of the internet. If you guys could see some of the messages he sends me, I mean, there's people that you don't like, and then there's people that you just know are a little tetched. You know what I mean by tetched? They're just... And he's writing me these things like, I would like you to be one of the great 44 comic atheology principalities. They include, and he's got a real warped... He also came into a Discord I was in this past weekend and told me that he had seen Paul McCartney and the Wings, not Wings, but the Wings, in 2014, when we all know the last time they performed on tour was 1979. And he kept calling them the Wings when they weren't the Wings. They were just Wings. And I mean, and he would like bet me $1 million. And then say, I bet you I saw them. I was at the Wings tour, 2014. Well, if you look up the Wings tour, it's a tour of airplanes and motorcycles. There's no music at all. And then he went to the point where he said, well, Paul McCartney, who I saw solo, performed some Wings songs. It doesn't mean you saw Wings. I'm sure he did some Beatles songs too. That doesn't mean you saw the Beatles. I mean, I could sing a Frank Sinatra song right now, and that doesn't mean you saw Frank Sinatra. The guy is. And so he would make one of these bets, lose it, and go, now you owe me $1 million. It's like a third grader playing football right in front of you. I get the football, touchdown, I win. I mean, just so stay away from that podcast and him. Nothing to see there. He sent me this link. This is a link of me with Joe Rogan talking about me. He sent me the link. It was a 6-second video. Didn't mention him once. The people that I get approached by, you guys think that this show is just a show where, I'm doing this stuff. The things I got to jump over and do to do this show. And, for this much donations, I don't know if it's worth it anymore. I really don't. Let's see. R2's talking about Little Debbie's. Let's see. Gene says he looks like he would sell you fake VCRs. Yeah. He would sell you those cardboard VCRs they used to have in like open houses for housing. Let's see here. Out of his trunk, Mr. Wolf. Behind the Furniture Show. Do not honor him by talking about him. Talking about who? You got to talk about him once, and don't tell me what to do. You just got here. Gene1313 says, and he will give you checkers for $1. First it's Santa, now it's this guy. This is very suspicious. I know. I'm going to have to look into this guy in a minute. I can never do it during the show, and I don't trust any of you. Any of you that would have looked into it by now and told me, then you'd be trusted. But since you haven't, you're just flying blind. I could do that myself. Trust me. Oh, let's just move on to May 23rd. I'm not even going to do that day. Oh, this is good. May 24th, 1963, the New York Journal American reported in a copyrighted story that NASA had revealed in a closed session of a congressional subcommittee that there had been 5 fatalities in the Soviet cosmonaut program, all of which had been covered up. According to the source, Serentny Shaborin had been the first man in space, launched in February 1959, and was never heard of again until after 28 minutes when the signals went dead. Other failed launches were said to have been Pyotr Dolgov on October 11, 1960, Vasilievich Zolodovsky in April of 1961, and 2 persons, possibly a man and a woman, launched together on May 17, 1961. Alexei Adzubi, the editor of the newspaper Izvestia and the son-in-law of Soviet Premier Nikita Khrushchev, denied the reports of 4 of the 5 deaths in the newspaper's May 27th edition, saying that the people had been technicians working on space equipment and that 2 of them were still alive, although no denial was made about the alleged 1959 death of Saborin. They've got one, I've heard it, there's some female cosmonaut that, like, I don't know whether she goes out of orbit or what the deal is, but they've got the audio of her signaling, like trying to get saved and stuff. It's really creepy. It's super duper creepy. Dying on May 24th, 1963 is Elmore James, American blues musician, of a heart attack. The Wolf, this one's especially for The Wolf. I wouldn't have read it otherwise. May 25th, 1963, at the track and field competition for 6 universities in what is now the Pac-12 conference, Phil Shinnick jumped 27 feet 4 inches in the long jump, which is like 3/4 of an inch ahead of the world record set by Igor Turovasayan. But 2 officials whose only duty was to place the wind gauge on the long jump runway and to watch it to make sure the wind was blowing at less than the allowable limit, were not paying attention. So that jump was not submitted as a world record. Yes, it happened. I'm sorry. Hey, guess what also happened on May 25th? This fella right here, Mike Myers, Canadian comedian and TV film actor, known for Wayne's World, Austin Powers, and the Shrek series of film, was born in Scarborough, Ontario, which is a suburb of Toronto. How about that? How about that? How about that, man, huh? Let's see here. In May 26, 1963, the 1963 Monaco Grand Prix was won by Graham Hill. Can you dig it? I knew that you could. May 27th, 1963. What happened? Well, Columbia Records issued the Freewheelin' Bob Dylan, singer-songwriter Bob Dylan's second and most influential studio album, which opened with the song Blowing in the Wind. Yes, my friend is blowing in the wind. Yes, how many times must have been for you before he went with the band? May 28th, just because there's nothing else notable, a cyclone killed 22,000 people in and around the city of Cornilla in East Pakistan, now Bangladesh. Winds as high as 150 miles per hour ripped the countryside, and the many offshore islands were literally swept clean of people. Did you get all those people? No. Well, you better go back, because we're sweeping the islands clean of people. Chittagong and Cox's Bazar lost 5,000 people each, and waves were powerful enough to send ships a half a mile inland, including 4 ocean liners. That doesn't sound like any fun to me at all. On May 29th, 1963, the U.S. Department of Defense submitted its report on the Mercury 9 mission. Born on that day, two people of note, somewhat. Tom Burnett, an American businessman who was one of the passengers who fought with terrorists during the hijacking of United Airlines Flight 93 during the September 11 attacks. Well, he was born in Bloomington, Minnesota. And also Lisa Whelchel, American TV actress and contemporary Christian singer, best known as Blair Warner on Facts of Life, was born right here in Littlefield, Texas. Hey, she's only about, just a skosh more than a scoosh over the scash. We're almost to the end of the month. May 30th, 1963. Thank you. It's coming up this Friday, kids. You don't have to get me anything. A super chat will be fine. On that date, the Coca-Cola Company publicly announced its first diet drink, Tab Cola, with 1 calorie per 6-ounce serving, made with saccharin instead of sugar. Also on May 30th, 1963, this fella right here, Parnelli Jones of the United States, won the 1963 Indianapolis 500, finishing 34 seconds ahead of Jim Clark of Scotland. May 31st, 1963, last day of the month. The United States Air Force's Winslow Air Force Station in Winslow, Arizona, such a fine sight to see. It ceased operations. It ceased them. So that's what was going on in 1963 when I was just a pup. Well, I was mostly not alive during that month, but still, The Wolf says, listen, I am not Bob McNamara. I am not going to investigate every suspicious character in here. U.S. had great intelligence back then. Spying was very secret stuff then. Wolf says, those terrible people, they probably covered up what happened to Lancelot Link, secret chimp. Yeah, when are we going to get to the bottom of that? Russians, how could they? What will the banana bunch do now? The banana splits? Tra-la-la, tra-la-la-la. All right, why don't I just go ahead and I'm going to paste the link into the YouTube page. And going to the YouTube page will allow me to check out some of these strap hangers here in this room. Strap hangers. I love that term. Oh, I just love it. Fun is fun, I'd like the Wolf to know that, guess what I had for kind of a midday, wasn't lunch, but it was a little bit after lunchtime, would have been, yes, I had Earl Campbell's sausages. I had those sausages. So, yeah. Whoopsie-daisy. I don't want that. Sorry. Excuse me. Come on, StreamYard. Do your business. Do your bit. All right, here we go. Bam. Come on now. Boom. And biff. Pin that sucker. I got to pin that sucker. Doggone it. Cult Meeting Podcast is all. Well, gosh dang it. They're all banned now. Let me see what happens when I go to their channel. Daggone it, Cult Meeting Podcast. How'd you go and get yourself banned like that? Come on. Jeepers Creepers. That guy is a Fruit Loop of the highest order, I'm telling you. Of the highest order. All right, let's see about this other See about this other hunyuck we got in here. We got quite a few hunyucks in here tonight. And not many people, I might add. It's like since Memorial Day, we can't get people in here anymore. Roverton 67. Oh, Roverton 67 has been on YouTube since February 9th, 2010. Well, he's been around the block a time or two. Playlist, jazz and vocal. Okay. All right. Okay, man. I Love Beans by Brack. He posted. Classic 70s show dance party. I've seen that video. I like it. This is fun. This is okay, Roverton. I'll rescind any criticisms of you now. You're welcome. I've rescinded those. Those have been rescinded. But I pinned the thing. And there we go. I don't know what this show's about tomorrow. I've done no planning or prep for this week. I grow more disgusted with my existence every single day. This show's not helping whatsoever. It's starting to become a real pain in my keister. Yeah, I said it, keister. I got 3 people watching now. That's great. I'm getting closer and closer to just disbanding the whole thing, and why wouldn't I? And who would be upset? Who on earth would be upset? I don't know. I don't think anybody. I don't think a darn soul would be upset. I think everybody would get together and say, well done. It's just exactly what we needed, was for that to go away. And that's fine and dandy. The chef says I would. Well, okay, one person. Called my sister this morning that you worked with, chef. Didn't get a hold of her. And I don't leave messages. I figure everybody's got caller ID these days, and there's no reason for me to leave a message. Let me see. I better watch the bottom of this screen so I can say, oh, okay, here we go.
Hello, this is J.W. Pepper.
Hi, JW. I'm going to need you to work with this British secret agent. I like it. I like the scream when it's like this because I'm giant and imposing, and you're just a little tiny speck of a corner. That's perfect.
I just want that radio.
Well, they're easy to get. All over eBay, and you go to flea markets and whatnot. And by the way, Wolf, thank you for creating such a stylized and visually imposing avatar for the show.
Avatar?
Nice. That's really nice. Since nobody's going to give any money, I'll put my customized Kim Warfield ticker on the bottom. And I could also do the thing where here, let's do this as well.
I was too lazy to go through. I'm on my beautiful Apple phone, and I'm too lazy to go through this one's.
There he is. Now it's like I gotta. Let's see if I make that. There we go. You still talking?
Yeah.
Oh,
so
everybody!
They yanked Erickson out of second. Did you hear that?
I did, because there was some chicanery with his car after the deal.
Yeah. And they're also saying something about Andretti Green, and I'm like, what? And I thought, well, I'm not actually in contact with TZ anymore, and he's running their shop. Find out what's going on.
Well, there's a couple things. Chef says I believe she's starting up the Prism Project this week. She is, but I'm her brother, and I'm more important. Also, Mario Andretti is never going to cheat anything or anyone. That's like
not Mario. It's Michael.
Oh, well, that's a different story altogether.
That's why F1 wouldn't let him in until he got out of Cadillac.
Mm-hmm.
He made too many derogatory comments about his time in Formula One.
Michael's kind of the way he is. Remember the year he ran out of gas?
There's a lot of things that happened to those guys.
Michael Andretti, I believe, is still the driver with the most either laps or first place laps to have never won the race.
Yeah. Well, all the times Mario was in it and won it once, thanks to Danny Sullivan.
Well, not Danny Sullivan. It was Kevin Kogan.
No, Danny's the one that spun in front of him. Do you remember that?
Well, that might be true, but Kevin Kogan, they were all in the first row, and Kogan hit him in the first turn of the race, and there was nobody in front of him at all.
Well, that was one race, but the race that really freaked everybody out was Sullivan spinning in front of him and staying in first place.
Well, I don't think that's not as bad as just T-boning the side of his car. Mario was wanting to beat him up. I mean, he was so mad that Kogan just boom right into him first turn. But the other race that he got hosed on was when Bobby Unser, Mario was the race winner. And then next morning they posted the results, and Bobby won because they docked Mario a lap for passing on yellow or something like that, coming out of the pits.
It was always something.
So
always something to keep him from winning.
There was always some kind of chicanery.
Those scoundrels, they're nothing but my great aunt used to call everybody that she didn't look, bankers especially. The only derogatory thing that she used to describe them was she called them rascals. I don't trust those rascals.
Chef says, did you know the Pacers never win in the playoffs after the 500 race? That's not accurate because they won a bunch of ABA championships, but
and they're 3-1 right now. So
are they 3-1 or just 2-1?
They're 3-1, I believe.
Well, let's see. Well, I'll be looking at that. Well, now they're playing right this second. As we speak, the Pacers are locking horns with our New York Knicks, and it's 51-51 with 6 minutes and 9 seconds remaining in the second quarter. So
they're 2-1. You're right. They're 2-1 because they lost. Right. They were way ahead of the Knicks in that game, and they lost.
Wanda says Tom Gulley rules. Would have liked to have seen some end punctuation in that sentence, but I'll accept it. And I got beat down yesterday in a Discord. Somebody did Al Yankovic. Oh God, I hate Al Yankovic. Them's the rules, says Ken. Them's the rules. Wanda with a LOL. That's great. Yeah. I gotta stay out of that Discord for a couple months, I think. There's a person or two that consider themselves a little loftier than others and just want to kind of take a dump on people. And I'm, you know me, Wolf. I'll do that for a little while, but at a certain point then I'm like, okay, if we're going to play this game, let's play. I've never accidentally gotten married. So
I never go to Discord ever.
No, Ken's punctuation is much better than Wanda's is. Who knows? Maybe I'll go in there. It's like I was getting along with this person, and they all of a sudden get this attitude, and like, what am I supposed to do about that?
Were you in Pod Awful again?
Why do you think that was in Pod Awful's Discord?
I don't know. That's the only one you ever talk about.
Why would you think it was there? Those people are all very, very fair and even-minded, and none of them would suddenly turn into a critical, angry, unfair. And that's fine. All that's fine. But it's the when you give it back to them, suddenly you're evil and a victim, and oh boy, you better watch out now. It's like, okay, whatever. Like, I need that in my life. I need a lot of low-grade aggression from strangers in my life currently. Let me sign up for more of that. Trying to hang out and have a good time and make people laugh, and doing my imitation of, basketball, if you consider the fact that, you're on offense and defense, they don't switch them out, like most sports. It's like you are at once a warrior and a protector. It's, anyway, and they just one person, actually, so... Let's see here. I'm sorry for their actions. You didn't do anything. Damn. Let's see. Whoops. There are good people on both sides. Wanda says, I cannot laugh anymore. Yes, Tom Von Twinkle. Yeah, Wanda. And then she comes in and I mentioned, what's punctuation after? I said, well, if you'd been here from the beginning when we were, she's like, oh, I have been here from the beginning. And I'm like, not of the way that I do it, which transcends the way anybody else has ever done it. And even the head guy now is doing it. And who started it? That would be, and what do I get for that? I get a thumb in the eye. That's what I get. I get a painful rectal itch. That's what I get. So, transcends. Chef says, sorry, Tom, but I have to get up at 4:40 in the morning. Peace out. Hey, Chef, you take it easy, brother. Good to see you, Chef. Beef Durkee says Greg was just in VC. Well, he messed up because I would have. So true. What? Driscoll says we've reached full transcendence. Well, the owl bites into the Tootsie Roll at the end, making him, an anarchist in the truest sense. Anyway, we've reached. Oh wait, I don't want that. I don't even know what that means. Disket. Tom is a better Greg than Greg. All right, so Wolf, did you have a good day here today? What did you do? Because I ate some of those sausages.
I watched a Irish woman describing making her breakfast, including sausages.
I had Earl Campbell sausages just a little earlier. Oh, Wanda's laughing. I don't want a rectal itch or whatever you said. Well, you guys know that, what's the name of that place that I banned a little earlier? Cult Meeting Podcast was in here. That didn't last long.
Is he a purveyor of fine preparation aids, or I don't get it?
When I meet somebody that I don't like, or when I'm describing them, I sometimes refer to them as a painful rectal itch. It's just they're just there, and if you scratch at them, you'll be in pain. But
you just carry some of that preparation H around with you, and you're ready to go.
I'd rather just not have the painful rectal itch. I know that I had some of those Earl Campbell sausages a little earlier, and they were delicious.
I watched the craziness going on in Ireland.
Is there craziness going on over there?
The new IRA.
Diskett says he's only had the satisfying rectal itches, and that sounds awful. Is there some sort of riot going on or something I don't know about, or what's?
Oh, it's all starting all over again. Now there's tension about, terrorist attacks from the IRA and a bunch of crap. And then they went over some incidents that have happened within the last 3 years. This lady's sister was a journalist. She was a Catholic journalist apparently she was on the Protestant side, which is Northern Ireland. And the IRA attacked some police and shot her by accident. But we're very quick in the next paper the next day to give an apology for their mistake. No one would tell who did it, obviously, on either side.
Yeah, those I don't have time. There's bigger conflicts than those potato eaters. I don't have time to worry about them as much. My hair's messed up in the front again today, and I don't know what to do about it.
Well, I'm concerned because they make good whiskey, and I don't want that we don't want that supply to dwindle down.
If there's anything we know about the Irish, it's that those rummies aren't going to quit making booze. The whole place could go to pieces, and they'd still be cranking out the Bushmills and the Redbreast single pot distilled and all that stuff.
And the lady that was making those sausages for breakfast. I felt like leaving a comment, "Excuse me, could I have some of them sausages?" About sharing one of them.
I still have more. I ate 3 of the sausages. I got 5 more.
Oh, you glutton.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I know. You'd have quite more than that. And I ate them just as sausages this time. And you know what? I think they're better as those than like in a hot dog bun. I think they're better just as sausages. But anyway, I gotta start thinking about what I'm doing these shows about, because these last 2 topics have been real yankers, and I'm not getting any people watching. So, like I was when I was doing, I'll do a show tomorrow. I guess I could do McHale's Navy or something. I kind of want to do a show that I like. It is, after all, my birthday weekend.
That the other day.
What now?
I kept giving references to McHale's Navy yesterday.
You know what I liked the best about McHale's Navy was that admiral, that old admiral guy.
Bill Coe is my favorite, though.
Well, Bill Coe, yeah, is way better. Incidentally, here you go, Wolf. Here you go. May of 1963. You want to know the top songs? Number 1 was "If You Want to Be Happy" by Jimmy Soul, which I assume is "If You Want to Be Happy for the Rest of Your Life." El Watusi by Ray Barretto, which I will assume is an instrumental. "Surfin' USA" by the Beach Boys. "Come and Get These Memories" by Martha and the Vandellas, which I've never heard. "Another Saturday Night and I Ain't Got Nobody" by Sam Cooke. "It's My Party and I'll Cry If I Want to" by Leslie Gore. "The Love of My Man" by Theola Kilgore. "Two Faces Have I" by Lou Christie. "The Do-Ron Ron" by the Crystals. "Pushover" by Etta James. "Foolish Little Girl" by the Shirelles. "You Can't Sit Down" by the Dovells. "Hot Pastrami" by the Dartels. "If You Need Me" by Wilson Pickett. "Killer Joe" by the Rocky Fellers. "I Love You Because" Al Martino. "Sukiyaki" by Caillou Sakamoto. "It's all because of you." Anyway, "Hot Pastrami with Mashed Potatoes" by Joey D and the Starlighters. "Hello Stranger" by Barbara Lewis. And number 20, "Those Hazy, Lazy, Crazy Days of Summer" by Nat King Cole, with music conducted by Ralph Carmichael. Boom! There's your top 20 songs from the week of May 25th, 1963. Top movies. In May of 1963, the top grossing movie was Dr. No, released by United Artists. Other notable films released in May of 1963 include How the West Was Won, 55 Days at Peking, and Hood. Hood, who didn't mind selling them cattle with hoof.
I wonder what that was about.
With the hoof and mouth. He didn't mind selling that cattle with the with the hoof and mow. Biscuit says 3 licks and 1 bite. Wanda's laughing. Biscuit says, no, I don't want a rectal itch or whatever you said. Only had satisfying ones. Well, that's right. That's great. Yeah. 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 So.
Well, that was certainly really interesting.
Trip down memory lane. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you were 2 years old at that time. You were wandering around, putting chocolate handprints on the hallway doors and everything else.
No, I was 2 years old, probably falling off the back of the tricycle and putting a flat spot on my skull. Running around with
that explains so much.
Yeah, it explains how that slate of cement that's crystallized next to the back door is still there to this day. 60 years later.
You know if that house is still there?
Yes, it is.
I don't know if any of the houses I grew up. I mean,
the house of Duffy Hughes that had a fake leg that he used to lean up in the corner and leave there.
Duffy Hughes. That's not a real name.
Oh, yes, it is.
No, you made that up.
Mr. Duffy Hughes' cabin, where we used to go and fish and get chased by blue racer snakes.
God. My grandparents had this one cabin that they quit using. It wasn't even a cabin, but it was, and they used to sell these in like the 40s, I think, after the war. But they had long since abandoned it. I have very small remembrances of it as a little kid. But it was a house that was made like sort of all out of metal. It wasn't very big. There was like a little room in back and a little like kitchen with some cupboards and some stuff. It was almost like a little shack, but it was completely made of metal. And by the time we got older and we were teenagers, it was all overgrown and stuff. But they used to have little parties out there, and they'd make bring out stuff for sandwiches and beer, and then they would hang out on this overlook to the river. And once they all got older, they quit coming out there, and this kind of prefab metal house just slowly rusted away. We'd go out there and there'd be, spiders and animals living in it. And anyway.
Wow, yeah. That sounds great.
It is. The house my great grandparents had, they just, I don't know what the heck happened. It's like it was on the property, but nobody ever took care of it or anything. It was way far away from everything else. And they did some stuff to it to like kind of, they took all the fixtures out of it and all the good stuff out of it. And then, eventually we went in there one time. The doors had come off the hinges or where we could get in there. And there was a giant hole in one of the floors down to the basement, like a big circle. Oh, God. I want to kill that loser. I really would.
Donnie's fast truck again.
You've seen the vehicle. You know it's not fast. It's just loud.
Oh no, he thinks it's fast.
Well, he's wrong. And I'm, it's like the other day got my car. They were, they're gargoyling it on their steps, and I just looked over at him. I wanted to go, this Jaguar here could waste that thing without even, but I didn't. You don't know how badly. I mean, I want it to be like a 70s movie where one day I just take a baseball bat and just, bash out all the windows and the headlights and then.
Oh, I thought you were going to say you wanted it to be like the California Kid where you eventually run them down in your Jaguar and run them off the road.
Like Vanishing Point or something? Yeah,
no, the California Kid. You didn't see that with Martin Sheen? He's driving a 32 Ford, flames on it. The sheriff in the, what is his name? It's always plays the redneck sheriff. He's
Vic Morrow?
He's been in a lot of stuff too, but he's played redneck
Yeah.
sheriffs a few times.
He's also played a guy that a helicopter chops in half with two little kids.
He runs his brother off the road, and Martin Sheen comes from California, and he's like, knows that this guy's been doing this to people that he doesn't like or that are speeders or whatever. Anyway, he blows into town, doesn't tell anybody who he is or what he's doing there, takes a little bit job, and then just starts working on his car to get the shocks so that normally when you would lose it by going that fast and trying to make that turn, his car would lean into the turn and he'd be stable, and he could run the sheriff off the road that way, get him behind him, because he liked to come behind people with that special bumper he had and then just, NASCAR him off the road.
Yeah, he killed Nick Nolte that way. The jerk. Buzz Stafford. He killed Buzz Stafford that way. And I like when Martin Sheen drives out of town, he waves to Maggie inside the diner. And off
The
he goes.
diner.
In the diner. All right. Well, you got 3 people watching this hunk of junk right now. I'm seriously, maybe it's time. Maybe after this week, it'll just be time.
It's time. We're calling it. We're calling it.
It may be just time to put a fork in it and say, forget it. It might just be time.
Put a fork in that sausage.
It might be just time to just kind of say, hey, we had a nice run, but it's time. It's just time. If that few people really, really are that interested in the old kit and caboodle, it may just be time. We'll think about it.
There you go.
Yeah, might just be time. There's no more Sonic Asylum Radio. There's no more mom and pop stores.
All gobbled up by the.
Yeah, there's no more mom and pop stores.
Gobbled up by Skeletor.
That's it. Oh wow, somebody quoted me on a thing here.
Hey, maybe Metal could get a job working at Skeletor.
Yeah, I could be working there on the mighty 190. I could move out to Escondido. You and I could bunk up in the same dorm room sized apartment. It would be great. Order pizza every night, watch black and white TV. I think that's the way to go. I think that's my next move.
No, that was Chief and I's plan to.
Oh.
What? Told him, hey, we should take turns working 6 months. One guy works and the other one stays at home and watches cable TV and eats TV dinners, and then we switch.
Well, that's not such a bad idea. I'd do that at this point. I'm not having any fun doing what I'm doing, so might as well.
Yeah, that was a good plan. I still remind him of that every once in a while. He starts laughing.
Well, but isn't he like chefing or cooking for the Sigma Chi house or something now?
He's a house mother.
They have to call him at least a house father, don't they? I mean, don't they by law?
They call you a house mother. He and apparently my cousin Mark is. Didn't hear anything about that, but apparently he's one too.
Well, how can I get a job being a house mother? Because I know another guy that does that.
Yeah, I mean, you basically just make sure stuff gets done that's supposed to be organized, and that's it.
Yeah, it's Does he have to live in the house, or does he live where he lives and just goes there for all day?
He goes over there. He's got a room there that, which I'm guessing probably looks like it was, in some sort of aerial battle or bombed by. I'm guessing it looks like Berlin when you walk in there.
I think the guy that I knew that was doing it had a room there with a little bed in it, and it was very rudimentary, but it was just in case they were required to be there for some big giant overnight thing or something, because he had his own place.
Yeah, he has his own house, but he goes in there.
But he's
every day.
Yeah, he's in there all the time. This guy was in there all the time. And the biggest thing he had to make do for was the lunch and dinner that they would serve. Maybe it was breakfast and lunch. I can't remember. I think it was breakfast and lunch.
He's trying to get me. He said, "Wolf, you can move back here. You have no expenses. You can pay the utilities if you want, but you have no expense other than that." And I said, "And stay in the SIG house." The cigarette stink is so bad, Tom, that when you
you mean
outside walking up the steps to get to the front door, you can smell the cigarettes outside.
Because they call Sigma Chi SIGs. You're not talking about the SIG house. You're talking about the SIG house. Yes, his house. I'm with you. I'm totally with you. Yeah. I mean, I know people that smoke cigarettes, and then there's people that it's like, good God.
Well, remember, I know what you're trying to do. No, you're not going to do it this time. You're not going to use me as the scapegoat. Steve, what are you talking about? You're not going to do it, I'm telling you. You're not getting away with it this time. Because he ran out of cigarettes. He went nuts.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, man. Well, anyway, I'm going to shut this down. It's just what it is. So, thanks for coming on, and hope you enjoyed the picture I showed of Parnelli Jones and
all
that good stuff. And but thanks for coming on board, and I guess we'll talk to you later. I'm sorry.
I'm going to go back to watching all the good news about India, Pakistan, and China.
Oh yes.
China with all their stuff that doesn't work, and he fired his generals because he was afraid they were going to overthrow him, and they couldn't even put together. He couldn't even put together. They had to cancel all their maneuvers because nobody knew how to set it up.
God, those are good people.
That country's a mess. Nobody lives there anymore. It was like 400,000 or 500,000 people there. 500 million people there instead of the 1.4 that they pretend they have. All the stuff is starting to leak. Can't shut it off.
All right. Well, that's just more good news for me to consider. All right, man. Well, you have a good evening. I'll talk to you later.
Goodbye, Daddy. Love your show.
Goodbye. Crying out loud. That's funny. All right. Well, I got to get out of here. Thanks for showing up, everybody. I'd like to thank Gilman for the $1.99. I think it was $1.99 we made tonight. Look at that. Yeah, it was $1.99. So that's all worth it. We're going to do a show tomorrow at night. If there was more than one person here right now, I'd ask what you want the show to be about. But since there isn't more than one person, who cares? I normally would prepare that right after this, but why bother? Anyway. As a clock on the wall, can't stay here. Next time. See you next time.
talking about